We are now 2/3 of the way done with the regular season already, man. Can you believe how fast this season just went by? And as I am recording this on Monday morning, I am coming off of another really solid Week 12. Alright, so that momentum keeps riding. However, we are going in to week number 13. And I don't know if you're superstitious or not, but if you are, then you know 13 is typically a very unlucky number. However, this is premiering on November 26th. 26 divided by 13 equals 2. And with my record this week, I average getting 2 out of every 3 games correctly. So hopefully that omen can overcome the bad omen that the number 13 gives. Or maybe I'm just digging too deep into it. Anyway, these are my Week 13 picks of the 2025 NFL season. Let's keep up the good momentum right here. And let's kick things off with my favorite holiday of the year. It always was and it always will be. And we got 3 Thanksgiving Day games as usual. First at bat, the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions in my game of the week right here, right off the bat. So, the Packers are coming off of a dominant win over the Minnesota Vikings, 23-6, still very much in the wild card hunt in the NFC playoff picture. And they are still very much alive for winning the NFC North this year. But they're taking on the Detroit Lions, who are coming off of a win over the Giants. But it was a pretty sticky win for Detroit, as they trailed by 10 points or more throughout much of the game, and they got it done in overtime against the Giants. And that's the thing about the Lions right there. They're still a great team, but a couple weeks ago I said they were my favorite for winning the Super Bowl, but that has really taken a damper on that because they are just given too many points. They're only 3-3 in their last 6 games. They had a rough they had a rough second third of the season, if you will, but it's not like they went like 1-5 or anything, but they need to figure stuff out. I mean, they're, like I said, giving up way too many points, and the offense is still great, but yeah, that defense, I know it's injured, but they still need to improve a lot of things. As for Green Bay, great defensive team. They're literally a top 7 defense this year, which we all knew that Green Bay was going to be at the beginning of the season when they got Micah Parsons like a week before the season began. So that's the good right there for Green Bay. But Jordan Love, I think he is really just missing that one really big game that's really going to put him on the map and make people genuinely more afraid of him. Josh Jacobs, he's been out for a bit, but their backup running back has been getting the job done a lot. And that right there is a very difficult deciding factor for me personally right there, because like Green Bay, they have all these ways of beating you, but it's the Lions too. I mean, both teams are on a short week, so you can't really say the short week narrative for either team. But the thing with the Lions is that they're playing back-to-back home games, and Green Bay, they gotta travel to Detroit. Now, Green Bay to Detroit, not really far of a travel, but still, that's a big deciding factor right there. So I think the Lions defense really needs to stand up here, and Green Bay's defense really needs to stand up. Green Bay got the job done over them in week 1, where they dominated Detroit, and I've been saying all season the Lions typically struggle against strong defensive teams, but I really don't know if I can say the Packers are good enough to sweep Detroit. So I was going back and forth about this one, but I am going to go with the Lions just because they're the home team and because they stay at home. And like I said, they're going to remember week 1 and they're going to make adjustments to it, or at least Dan Campbell will try to make adjustments to it. But I'm leaning more, but like I said, I don't know who to pick, so I'm going to go with my usual shtick, and I'm going to go home team. Give me Detroit in a really good one against the Packers. Second Thanksgiving Day game, as you're probably at the dinner table right around this time, stuffing your face with turkey and stuffing, or mac and cheese, or mashed potatoes, corn casserole that my wife makes, or whatever it is that you eat on Thanksgiving. We got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Dallas Cowboys. Got a damn good football game going on in the background. So, the Chiefs and the Cowboys, both teams are coming off comeback wins. Chiefs, a comeback win in overtime against the Indianapolis Colts, where in the fourth quarter, Kansas City was in a big deficit, but that defense they got limited the high-powered Colts offense to just 11 total yards in the fourth quarter. Something that very few defenses have been able to do this year to the Colts was just limit them. How about the Cowboys trailing 21-0 at one point to Philly, and the Cowboys shutting them out for the rest of the game and winning it on a last-second field goal when the Dallas Cowboys outscored Philly 24-0 after being down 21-0. What a comeback by the Dallas Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, arguably the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver this season, and this Cowboys team, they can definitely score some points, but their defense is just complete ass. They're kind of like a better version of the Bengals, where like they can definitely put points up on the board, but their defense gives up a ton of points. The Chiefs, they definitely have the firepower on offense to do it, but they just don't have the production. All right, when you have Kareem Hunt and Patrick Mahomes being your lead rushers on the season, that's usually not a pretty good sign as far as how your offense is going to go. And Mahomes is still looking pretty pedestrian. I don't think he even threw a touchdown pass against the Colts. He might have. I don't remember his exact stats, but he looked very average against that Indianapolis team. And the Chiefs receiving core, like I said last week, they got the band back together, but they need to step things up, and that's why Kansas City is just in the predicament they are right now, 6-5, an overtime win against the Colts. And Kansas City, they beat a very good Colts team, but it's like, are you really convinced about how the Chiefs are this year? Because that defense they got is still very elite. It's very much a top 5 defense in the league, but if their offense just continues to sputter, defense is going to be staying on the field for a very long time. And unfortunately, they're going up against a Cowboys team that definitely has tons of firepower up on that offense. So, yeah, again, another game where I was going really back and forth, but after heavy consideration, I'm going to go bold here, and I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm feeling the Cowboys right now. I don't feel very confident with Kansas City. Earlier in the season I did, but here's the thing. We're at Thanksgiving time already right now. It's different now. I don't feel very confident with Kansas City. The Cowboys, yeah, they're 5-1, I think, but I'm feeling more confident with Dallas than I am Kansas City, because kind of like Detroit, the Cowboys are on a short week, but they are staying at home. They had that home game against Philly, and now they're staying at home against the Chiefs. If the Cowboys can come back and win in probably against the defending champs, I think they can pull a win out against the defending AFC champs for the past 3 seasons. So, yeah, I'm going to go Dallas Cowboys to get the win, and so much so, this is going to be my spread of the week. I have another big upset in mind for this week, and I was close to making this my upset, so I came with a compromise. This is going to be my spread of the week. 28-25. Cowboys win it over the Chiefs to get over 500 technically, and Kansas City falls back to 500 at 6-6, and that might bury Kansas City's chances of winning the West. And wrapping up Thanksgiving night. Probably you're going to be eating leftovers or pumpkin pie, peanut butter pie, cranberry pie, apple pie, whatever kind of pie it is that you eat. Personally, I'm not a big pie person. I never was. But Thanksgiving night, Bengals and the Ravens, AFC North showdown in Baltimore. So the Bengals, credit to them, they hung in there with the New England Patriots. But, the Bengals, not a good team, lost it to the Patriots 26-20. Biggest headline for them, Joe Burrow has a legit chance of comeback in this playing in this game. So that's a confidence booster for Cincinnati right there. I mean, credit to Joe Flacco. He did okay as the Bengals backup. Way better than Jake Browning. But yeah, Joe Burrow, I think if he plays in this game, the Bengals are going to have a better offensive production. But still, their defense is just god-awful. I don't think I need to say anything about that. This defense is historically bad. You know, dead last in just about every single statistic. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens, who now lead the AFC North. I'll get more into that in a little bit. And they are 6-5 on the year. 23-10. They beat up on the Jets to the surprise of literally nobody. Although the Ravens did look sluggish for the first half of that game. But, you know, it's the Jets and it's the Ravens. They make second half adjustments, unlike some other teams in the AFC North do. And the Ravens ran away with it in the second half to get the 6-5. They are now in first place in the division via the tiebreaker with division records. The thing is, Cincinnati's defense is dead last, and Lamar Jackson, if there's one team that look, personally, I don't think Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the NFL, like a lot of people say personally. I think right now that goes to Matthew Stafford, in my opinion. But if there's one team that Lamar Jackson lives up to the best quarterback in the league moniker, it is the Bengals. The Bengals are one of the very few teams in the league where Lamar Jackson actually looks like the best quarterback in the league. He has terrorized the Bengals throughout his career. Excuse me, and against that dead last ranked defense, I see no trouble for Baltimore right here. Higgins is going to be out with a concussion, while the spitter comes back onto the field for the Bengals after his one-game suspension, but that don't matter. I'm going to take the Ravens to win. Pretty high-scoring game. I'm going to take the over here just because Baltimore's defense is still shaky. I think that their defenses really only look good because they've played bum offensive teams over the past few weeks, but regardless, I'm going to take the Ravens to win in a shootout here and get the 7-5 and put the foot down on the Steelers even more in the AFC North. So yeah, give me the Ravens to win this one. Then we got Black Friday for the third year in a row. As you can tell by the music in the background here, we got a pretty low-key good game right here between the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what? Not even low-key. I think this is going to be a great game. One of the best games of the week. Chicago 8-3, leading the NFC North. And they got it done again over the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-28, where the offense looked really good once again. Defense, yeah, I was expecting the Bears defense to show up, and I thought the defense this year for the Bears would be one of their higher points, but Bears defense is really bad. Like, they have a lot of trouble with stopping the run, and their pass defense is very inconsistent. So I'm very let down by Chicago's defense there. But yeah, their offense has really improved a lot. That's what hiring a good defensive mind a good offensive mind in Ben Johnson will do. So yeah, credit to the Chicago Bears. They're playing great football. Philadelphia Eagles, they are 8-3. I think both teams are 8-3 now that I think about it. I really got to get in the habit of looking at records before I record videos. But anyway, I believe both teams are 8-3. Eagles, as I said a bit ago, blew a 21-0 lead against the Cowboys and lost on a last-second field goal. So yeah, Philly, it looked like over the weeks, it was good reason to believe Philly would run away with that game because their defense had been playing at levels we haven't seen this Eagles defense play probably since the Andy Reid days. Like, Philly was shutting down some of the most potent offenses in the league, and there was reason to believe that they would run away with that game. And now going up against the Chicago Bears, who have a great defense or a great offense as well. That's why this is going to be a great game. It's a battle of a team that can definitely push the ball down the field in Chicago, and Philly's capable of doing that as well. But with how stale the offense has been with pushing the ball down the field and relying on the defense, I think that was a big wake-up call that Philly needed right there with blowing that game. Chicago's got a ton of weapons, too. Which, by the way, like, their weapons were banged up, but if you remember in my pick'em video last week, I said, don't worry, Bears fans. You know, you're going up against the Steelers, who would make your 10th option even look great. And that's what happened. I mean, DJ Moore has been quiet all season, and he had 2 touchdowns against the highest paid defense in the league. And as a result, the Bears had their first win against a team above 500 all season. Say what you want about the Steelers, but that was their first win against a team above 500 all season. But now they're playing the other team in Pennsylvania, which is who are just way better than the Steelers. Again, not taking anything away from the Bears, but I just think Philly is just the better team. And with the Bears having to go on the road to Philadelphia on a relatively short week, and the Eagles having to come back home, I think that's the difference maker here. So I think the Bears will keep it a very good game, but in the end, I'm going to go ahead and take Philadelphia to get that ugly loss out of their mouth and rebound with the win here in a pretty close one. I'm going to go ahead and take the Philadelphia Eagles to win it over the Chicago Bears. Pretty close game here. Then we finally get to the Sunday slate of games, and we got Toilet Bowl of the week. So the Atlanta Falcons are on the board. As far as the Toilet Bowl rankings go, the Jets have made their third one this season. Falcons and the Jets in East Rutherford. I could give a crap less about this game. Both these teams are awful. Falcons, though, did get the win over the New Orleans Saints, 24-10, snapping their losing streak. And that was just a much-needed win for the Falcons right there. Not that I think they'll do anything with it, but they needed that win badly. Bijan Robinson, big game against the Saints, and Kirk Cousins. You know, you can always count on Kirk Cousins in daytime to have a respectable game. He's kind of like Andy Dalton a bit, you know, from back in the day, where Andy Dalton would always have good games in, like, the 1 o'clock slate of games, but, like, when the sun sets, he, like, is a completely different quarterback. That's what Kirk Cousins reminds me of. So, maybe Kirk does have a few things left in him, but overall, I just really see a very underwhelming Atlanta offense that needs Bijan Robinson to be the key of it and be the engine in it. Speaking of running backs needing to be the engine of the offense, how about Breece Hall with the Jets? He needs to be that engine right there because Justin Fields is just completely inaccurate. I have no faith in him to be a long-term stability quarterback for the Jets or a long-term starter. I think he is going to be off the Jets at the end of the season, and they're going to be in the vicious cycle of finding another quarterback once again. So, yeah, because I got to pick someone to win, I am going to do the unthinkable here. I am going to take the Falcons, not because I know for a fact that I can pick them, but it's simply because the team that they're playing is worse than them. I got no faith in the Jets either, so this is a battle of two teams that I have absolutely no faith in. So I got to pick the less sucky one. And in my opinion, it's the Falcons. So I'm going to take Atlanta to win. Probably the first time in weeks, but I'm not pumping my chest about it. It's no cause for celebration. But give me the Falcons to win the Toilet Bowl over the Jets. Then we got another pretty good one coming up. We got the Rams and the Panthers in Charlotte. So how about the LA Rams? They are 9-2 on the year, and in my honest opinion, the Rams are looking like the best team in the NFL. They have an amazing defense led by that sensation in Jared Verse in his second year. They got a very good defensive line that's capable of causing a lot of pressure. Pass defense, I think, could use a little bit more of work, but that pass defense is still pretty strong. I think they had the benefit of facing Baker Mayfield, who was playing with a bum shoulder, which I'll get into the Bucs in a little bit, but we all know what the Rams are capable of doing on offense. Weapons galore on offense for the Rams with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. They got a nice run game. And then how about Matthew Stafford? If you're not convinced this guy is at least an MVP candidate, in my opinion, he is... in my opinion, this week did it for me. Matthew Stafford is my favorite to win MVP right now, which I was on board with Jonathan Taylor throughout most of the season, which Jonathan Taylor is now a very close second for me. But after seeing what I saw from Matthew Stafford on Sunday night, I think he one-ups Jonathan Taylor here. Stafford has 30 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. And even crazier, going back to the final stretch of last year, Matthew Stafford hasn't thrown an interception. Well, Matthew Stafford went the final stretch of last year without throwing a single interception. And down the stretch, and since down the final stretch of last year, Matthew Stafford's stats, 45 touchdowns to 2 picks. This dude just gets better with age, and I never understood the hate with Matthew Stafford. I have been on board to say that he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't think he'll be first ballot, but I think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Kind of like Russell Wilson a bit, where people say, oh, he's a borderline Hall of Famer. He may or may not get in. I think he's in the same regard to that. I think both of those are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and it literally all Stafford is missing at this point is an MVP, which I think that he'll very well get this year. What a job by Matthew Stafford this year. And that's why the Rams are 9-2. They are the most complete team in the NFL. They are going to be very difficult to beat in the playoffs. As for Carolina, they are a good, feisty, scrappy young team, and like I said at the beginning, I am recording this on Monday night, so we got to see that Panthers-49ers game, but you get it. Carolina, they have shown a lot of fight this year, like, shutting out the Falcons and pulling off the upset against the Packers in Lambeau of all places. So Carolina, they're by no means a pushover, and depending on how the Bucs are going to do, Carolina could be in a position where they could actually be leading the NFC South. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? You give Bryce Young a solid ground game, that's going to alleviate a lot of pressure off of him. And I think Bryce Young, I think the kid has it in him. He is really evolving into a quality starter. But, overall, just going up against this Rams defense that's just really good and really physical and very limiting, going up against the Panthers, I think it's just going to be a heavy order for Carolina to get anything going here, which I think they'll make a game out of it. But I just simply think that the Rams are the better team, and they get the job done here in a pretty tight one. It's a good loss, though, for Carolina, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams to get it done over the Panthers and get to 10-2. Then, another strong candidate for Toilet Bowl of the Week, but the aforementioned game one-ups it for me personally. Saints and the Dolphins in Miami. The reason this is not my Toilet Bowl of the Week is because the Dolphins actually have a little bit of momentum. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. And that's why it one-ups Falcons-Jets. So, Saints and the Dolphins. The Saints are coming off of a bad loss to the aforementioned Falcons, 24-10. As the miserable season continues for the Saints, they just can't do anything right. Like I said, defense is good for the Saints, but when you're averaging 15 points a game, you're not going to win very many games, and your defense is going to be staying on the field for a very long time, which is the big thing for the Saints right there. And it also doesn't help that Alvin Kamara got injured in the game, and he is unknown, so I hate riding with unknowns right there. As for the Dolphins, they have won, I think, 3 in a row since that god-awful start they had to the year. Defense has been a little bit better, and they have had a little bit of a spark going underneath them since firing Chris Greer. But with that said, Tua Tagovailoa is still very turnover-heavy, still forcing the ball in a lot of passing situations. If they can cut down on that, Miami might have something to overcome those offensive problems they got right there. But yeah, overall, I'm going to go ahead and take the team that I trust more, and right now it is the Dolphins. I think they get it done over the Saints. Saints are just simply not a good team. Miami at least has some momentum, so I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins to win this one over the Saints. Then we got the Arizona Cardinals and the Tampa Bay Bucs going at it in Tampa. Cardinals, a tough loss to Jacksonville at home, while the Bucs, since starting 5-1, are now 6-5, and they now have a very thin lead in the NFC South. And as if their injury woes couldn't be any more damaging enough because of Egbuka, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans out for the year, well, you can now add Baker Mayfield to that, because Baker Mayfield was in a sling on Sunday night, left the game after that Hail Mary throw at the end of the first half against the Rams on Sunday Night Football, and he had a shoulder injury on his throwing arm, and it may be a partially torn labrum, and as I'm recording this, he's probably getting an MRI on it right now, but I really don't think it matters. Baker Mayfield, that could miss him some time. It could not miss him, but I really don't think it matters. They should not have Baker Mayfield in this game for the Bucs. Because if Baker Mayfield is much of an MVP as everyone says that he is, which I think his MVP talks have taken a dip over the past couple weeks. I mean, he's still a very good quarterback, but I don't know if he's an MVP candidate anymore. You know, that's my thing with Baker Mayfield. So you're probably looking at Teddy Bridgewater getting the start again for Tampa Bay. For the Cardinals, you're probably going to get Jacoby Brissett in this game for them as well. Arizona has a tough defense, and going up against Teddy Bridgewater, who's also an injury-prone quarterback, and a very depleted Tampa Bay offense with their weapons right there, I'm going upset. Cardinals are my upset of the week. I like Arizona's defense stepping up here. I like Arizona getting just enough done on offense to get it done over the Bucs. And I think Arizona comes away with this one and gets to, I think, 4-8 on the year. And Tampa, that drops them to 6-6. So yeah, depending on what the Panthers do against San Francisco and LA in the next 7 days, Tampa could very well not be leading the NFC South. So yeah, I'm going upset here. Arizona over Tampa Bay, my upset of the week. Jaguars and the Titans down in Nashville. So Jacksonville, as I just mentioned with the Cardinals, they beat Arizona in overtime. And Jacksonville still playing pretty good, but I don't know if they're truly like a great team that everyone says they are. I think they're, 8-4, 7-4 on the year, whatever it is. So I really don't know if Jacksonville is like a great team that everyone says that they are. Like, I think they'll probably be in the playoffs, but I have my doubts about them making a serious run. Defense is really good. Offense could be better, and it starts with Trevor Lawrence. 3 touchdowns and 3 picks against the Arizona Cardinals, and that's the thing right there. Jacksonville is turnover heavy, and they need to really cut down on that. Not that I think Tennessee's defense is capable of doing that, but yeah, Jacksonville, they need to figure something out as far as offense goes if they're going to be a threat to go far in the AFC playoffs, and it starts with Trevor Lawrence. Tennessee, I mean, they do stop the run effectively, but like the Titans, they're just such a bad team. Now, credit to them. They actually hung in there a bit with Seattle. Like, they had their season high in points with 24, and it looked like Tennessee could probably come back and pull off a miraculous comeback against Seattle of all teams. But at the end of the day, you are who you are, and the Titans, they are just not a good team. They are 1-10. They are still winless at home, and I think Jacksonville continues that. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jaguars to win over Tennessee. I mean, Cam Ward, that guy just needs all the help in the world as far as he goes. But I am going to go ahead and take Jacksonville to win this one over Tennessee. Then we got the 49ers and the Browns. This one is up in Cleveland as the 49ers have yet to play. They play on Monday night against the Carolina Panthers, while the Cleveland Browns are coming off of a 24-10 win over the Raiders. That was Cleveland's first road win since week 2 of last year. So, congrats, Cleveland! You finally won a road game. And Shedeur Sanders looked okay. I mean, he looked way better than he did against the Ravens, but still, he looked okay. Run game went off against the Raiders right there, and the defense did their job when they finally got some semblance of an offense. So the Browns are coming off of a confident-boosting win, but they just play a better 49ers team. And the question comes down to which defense I think is capable of getting off the field better. And to me, once again, it's the 49ers defense. I think Cleveland's defense does show up here. I think their defense will be able to limit Brock Purdy or Mac Jones or whoever the 49ers started quarterback. But stopping CMC, who has been San Francisco's engine on offense all season, and their depleted offense as well, but just keeps getting healthier as the weeks go by. I think the 49ers come away and win this one. Now, the Browns did upset the 49ers a couple years ago in Cleveland, but I don't know if lightning is going to strike twice in a row. I think San Francisco remembers that game and they make adjustments here. And I think, Cleveland, they already had their big upset win of the year. They upset the Green Bay Packers and rallied back to beat them. So I don't know if the Browns can have two massive upset wins in one season. That's the thing right there. So I'm going to go San Francisco to beat the Browns in Cleveland. Very good game right here, actually. We got the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. So the Texans, how about them beating the Bills 23-19 last Thursday? And that number one defense definitely played like the number one defense in the league, where they sacked Josh Allen 8 times, and they forced some turnovers on Josh Allen as well, including the game-sealing interception. So Houston's defense is very strong, and on top of that, great defensive line. And with what they have right now, they have a 3 days rest going into Indianapolis. So those are some big-ass advantages that the Texans have going into this game right here. And they are taking on the Indianapolis Colts, who are a bit tired. They're coming off of a crushing overtime loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, where Indianapolis, their chances of getting the 1 seed have taken a hit right there. May have been a bit ambitious for him, but still a great season for the Colts nonetheless. But overall, like I said, the Colts were limited to just 11 total yards of offense in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs' defense, which Kansas City does have a great defense, but now Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor, they're going up against the number one defense in the league, and that is going to be difficulty if they can't get the ball moving and they get shut down like that effortlessly like they did against Kansas City in the fourth quarter. Because Houston, they're no laughing matter on defense. Now, the thing with the Texans is, does C.J. Stroud come back in this game? Does he get the start to go? Because Davis Mills has actually been doing a pretty good job filling in for him. So, yeah, C.J. Stroud's a big factor, but if that defense, they can do what they did against Buffalo, and they can replicate that, take Jonathan Taylor out of the game and force Daniel Jones into third and long situations, Houston has a great chance of pulling off the win here. But you got to take a look at Indianapolis. To me, they are just the more complete team. They have an offense that is capable of beating you in so many ways. Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor are still just that great dynamic ability on offense right there, where they can run the ball down your throat. And in Houston's defense is going to be tested right there, because the Bills, they got off to a run game to start off the game against the Texans, but it just kind of faded away. Whereas Indianapolis, they're more aggressive with running the ball, and they can pass it as well. You got to exploit the weaknesses right there, the very few ones that the Texans have as far as defense goes, and you got to make possibly a not 100% C.J. Stroud beat you. So I wanted to take Houston here, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts to win this one. I think it's going to be a very close game. I could very easily see Houston winning this game, but I think I like the Colts just a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and take Indianapolis to squeak it out over the Texans and get to 9-3. And Houston, I think, falls back to 6-6. I just think the Texans are kind of due for a loss. So I'm going to take Indy to win this one over Houston. Later slate, we got the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks going at it in Seattle. So the Vikings are 4-7, and they're done, in my opinion. I mean, they got crushed by Green Bay at Lambeau, and that may have been that to me was the nail in the coffin for the Vikings season. J.J. McCarthy to Justin Jefferson, the connection this year just not working out, which is a huge disappointment. Minnesota can't get anything on offense going. Their defense can only do so much, and that's just been the biggest Achilles factor this year for the Vikings. The Seahawks, I mean, they're coming off of a disturbingly close win over the Tennessee Titans, but to me, Seattle is still just a really good team. They're a very well-balanced team. They can pass the ball effectively. They can run the ball very efficiently. And, of course, their defense is just going to smack you in the mouth. JSN has 1,300 yards receiving on the year, which I still think leads the NFL. And it's just going to be a lot for Minnesota to handle right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Seahawks to win this one over Minnesota. I think Seattle gets it done kind of easily over them because I just don't think the Vikings have anything left in them, so I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this one over the Vikings. Another pretty easy one here. We got the Chargers and the Raiders. This one is in LA as the Raiders coming off a blowout loss to the Browns. They did fire Chip Kelly after the game, but I don't think it matters. Geno Smith has just been awful. Whereas the Chargers, I mean, yeah, they got smacked around inexplicably by Jacksonville before they had their bye week, but that's the thing right there. Chargers are coming off their bye week. They can push the ball down the field, and Vegas just won't be able to stop it. So short and sweet, I am taking LA to win this one big over the Raiders here and get that bitter loss to the Jaguars out of their mouth right there. So, yeah, LA should have no problem right here.
You serious?
Yeah, were you surprised that I wasn't going to lock up the Chargers over the Raiders? Because I was saving from my lock of the week for this one right here. Yeah, Buffalo Bills and the Steelers. Get this game off of 4:30. Put it in the 1 o'clock game. It's garbage. It's trash. It does not deserve a 4 o'clock late game. No one's going to want to watch it. Yeah, this is a no contest here. Buffalo's just going to freaking murder us this week. I don't know what else to tell you. Josh Allen got sacked 8 times against Houston, going up against this Steelers pass rush that thinks they can pass rush well and thinks that they can get after the quarterback well, when the fact of the matter is this Steelers defense is very feast or famine when it comes to the pass rush. Can't stop the passing game, can't do anything. Offense is just doing no favors for them whatsoever. I don't give a shit if Aaron Rodgers plays in this game or not. It's going to be the same basic offense for the Steelers again. And the final nail in the coffin, Buffalo, 3 days of rest. And you know how I feel about teams that are coming off, that have 3 extra days of rest going into a game. And it's not like it's any other team. It's the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's going to be fucking pissed off going in this game. Buffalo is going to be fucking pissed off going in this game, knowing that the New England Patriots continue to rack up wins. They want to catch that division title from him. I don't think I need to say anything more. He doesn't have a number 1 receiver, I know, but guess what? You don't need a number 1 receiver going up against the Steelers defense. Yeah, no-brainer here. Buffalo in a blowout. Lock of the week. Sunday Night Football, what a big missed opportunity this had to be. We could have had Bo Nix against Jaden Daniels, the 2 front runners for Rookie of the Year last year, but Jaden Daniels most likely, again, will not play in this game because of his stupid coach, Dan Quinn, allowing him to get injured against the Seahawks where he shouldn't have even been in the game. But Broncos and Washington going at it in D.C. So Bo Nix continues to just be efficient. Broncos are coming off their bye week, 9-2 on the year. They lead the AFC West, and I think Denver may have just wrapped up the AFC West unless the Chargers or Chiefs can really get things going in the final 6 weeks of the season, but I doubt that it's going to happen. Denver just continues to find ways to win. They've got it done over Kansas City in Kansas City the week before their bye week, and the Broncos, they just continue to play great football. Defense is among one of the best in the league, and going up against a crippled Washington team that is just so banged up outside of Jaden Daniels, like I think Scary Terry is injured as well. I'm going to take Denver to win this game. You know, both teams are coming off their bye weeks, but the Broncos are just by leaps and bounds the better team going into this one. But yeah, like, what a missed opportunity that this could have been on Sunday Night Football. If I had to flex another Sunday night game on here, it would probably be Texans Colts. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Broncos to win this one over Washington. And wrapping up Week 13, we got the Giants and the Patriots in Foxborough. Well, this will not be Super Bowl 42 or Super Bowl 46 because the Giants were actually good enough to beat those Patriots teams, and the Giants are the first team to be eliminated from playoff contention. I mean, you could have said that about the Giants before the season began, and it wouldn't make a difference. But, the Giants, I mean, they had some life in them, okay? Cam Skattebo and Jackson Dart and Malik Neighbors, they have a nice nucleus right there, but they're all banged up, and I don't know if Jackson Dart is going to play in this game or not, so you're probably having Jameis Winston play again for the Giants, which, yeah, he had a very nice game against the Detroit Lions, but Shane Bowen is just complete trash. Shane Bowen sucks, man. I mean, how many late game implosions have the Giants had this year where they've blown double-digit leads and they've lost because of it? Shane Bowen is garbage. I don't know how he still has a job. And they're taking on New England, who has won 9 straight games. They have the most wins in the NFL so far at 10-2. And with the way New England has beaten up on these weak teams and they've been able to push the ball down the field with Drake May and rack up yards, spread the ball to different players, I don't think it's going to change at all. I'm taking the Patriots to win this one over the Giants to get to 11-2 and win their 10th in a row. Fun fact, after this game will be both those teams' bye weeks. Yeah, they don't have a bye week till week 14. And we don't have any bye weeks this week. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. But, yeah, I'm taking the Patriots to win their 10th in a row, get it done over the Giants, get to 11-2, and for all intents and purposes, that could wrap up the AFC East for New England. And there you have it. Those are my Week 13 picks, and let's just have another really strong week, man. Let's see how this week goes. There were a lot of games that I needed to think about, but I think I was able to get it done. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, tourney members, even if you're not in the tourney, and I will see you in the next one. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.